How goes it all? Welcome back to Patterson No Properties. Hopefully, you guys are doing a great day. Sorry for my voice. Allergies are acting up, but the show, as they say, must go on. All right. So today, I came across this article. If you know about Patterson No Properties, we wholesale real estate. Yeah, tax sales, tax liens. We do the marketing from text message blasts to emails to sending physical mailers to people's houses and things of that nature. To help out people in distress property situation. But I ran across this article today and it was interesting. I said, well, let me talk about this. So, homeowners left homeless. Shelby County owns more tax sale properties than any investor. And that says a lot when a county in the United States of America has the highest amount of tax, owns the highest amount of tax liens than anywhere else in the United States. So we're talking about more than Detroit. We're talking about more than what is it? Baltimore. We're talking about more than all over, Ohio and Indiana, places where Mississippi, places that are considered quote unquote the Rust Belt or the poorest states in the United States of America, So that says a lot. This article actually came out on the 20th. And I just found it to be very interesting. And this is in the state of, Memphis, Shelby County. This is in Memphis, Tennessee. And they so the article says Archie Robinson nearly lost his home when it was sold to an investor in a tax sale. But research by the investigators show more properties sold in Shelby County tax sales aren't purchased by investors, but by the county itself. When Robinson moved into the childhood home he inherited from his mother, he also took her tax debt. They told me, the article says, told me the taxes were behind, so I said, okay, let me catch up, Robinson stated. His mom owed thousands of dollars in property taxes, so he paid what he could to preserve his home and all the memories inside. When the back taxes totaled nearly $5,000, his home was put up for auction. Now, as a person who participated in tax sales in Baltimore, Maryland, and in Berks County, Pennsylvania, and in Phoenix, Arizona, known as Maricopa County, the rules of engagement are different, and sometimes you get a good deal, sometimes you don't. I've even had a lawsuit, not against me, but against my name was mentioned because I won the tax lien, but against the county itself because they did not legally, they did not contact the owner of the property that I won the tax lien on in sufficient amount of time for her, in order for her to pay up on her tax debt. But her tax debt was almost $7,000. So you do the math on that one. It takes years to get that kind of debt, especially now if this is New York or California. That's a different story. But in the state of Pennsylvania, all southern states, the personal property taxes, well, outside of Florida and Texas, because they don't have an income state tax. The personal property taxes are fairly low. You know what I mean? But I digress. Anyways, in Tennessee, a trustee, the article says, can take possession of someone's property and sell it to recoup unpaid property taxes in what's called a tax sale. Robinson's home was one of the nearly 400 properties that were sold in February 2021. Red Door Memphis, a property management company, purchased Robinson's home and four others in a tax sale. Red Door, which states its mission is to glorify God by providing good housing at a good value, asked the court to evict Robinson. Oh man, you gotta love the South. Anyway, some young lady served me some papers stating that someone had bought the home and why was I here? And I was like, who? Because to me, it's like, you're supposed to provide people sufficient amount of time saying, hey, you're supposed to have some legal documentation saying, hey, your property has been, if you do not pay X amount of dollars in X amount of time, your property will be seized by the county in itself and sold at a tax sale or a tax lien auction. But maybe they didn't do the right thing. We'll see. Robinson borrowed money to buy back his property while another home that Red Door purchased in that tax sale was listed for rent on a website for $1,500 a month. According to Andrew Carl, a professor of history and African American studies at the University of Virginia, investors profit most from tax sales. We do. There's a lot of evidence to show that tax sales have become a predatory marketplace for investors looking to profit off of homeowners' distress, he said. Now, I disagree. I think there's some if we as investors are not looking to profit off somebody's misery, but if the county's going, if the and I'm it's like the massive foreclosures that happened back in 2007, 8, 9, 10 time frame. Just like there's foreclosures happening right now. It's not to the level of 2007 and 8, but there are there was 2 years where nobody could evict anyone, no one could foreclose on a property, and now that that those bans have been lifted. So if you're not quote unquote following the law by paying the property taxes, because in places like that in Memphis, Shelby County, like I said, a lot of southern states, Midwestern states, Pennsylvania, it's normal for people to not have mortgages on their homes. It's normal for people to inherit property. Unlike in other major metropolitan areas, it's very normal, and I think it's a good thing because you have opportunity to have generational wealth when you have real estate, especially when you own a house outright with no mortgage on it. You have opportunity to get access to capital from HELOCs and other various things. But I think that there may be evidence to show that certain cities and counties do this wrong, but I don't think all. It's not the investor's job. If you're an investor and you see something for sale and you buy it, I don't see how investors are taking advantage of anything when the county or the city in itself has said, "Hey, this person has been delinquent on paying their taxes, so we have legal obligation to pay it off." Now, I feel bad when somebody loses their property, but it is what it is. I have to pay my bills. If I don't, I lose my property. So it is what it is. That's why you have when city and county governments and even the federal government makes a lot of money off of asset forfeiture when they take away property from people who are in who committed crimes, from houses to cars, to a lot of things. They have various amounts of auctions, and yeah, those organizations do make money off of it. And it's even bigger in states where there's less taxes because hey, it's their bread and butter. Prison is a big business. Law enforcement is a big business, so it is what it is. And the article says that may be the case, but Action News 5 found most properties sold in Shelby County tax sales aren't purchased by investors, but are acquired by Shelby County itself. That's showing you the system is not working. The professor stated. He said an analysis done with the Institute for Public Service reporting shows of more than 8,000 properties sold in tax sales between 2016 and 2022. Shelby County came to own more than 5,500 of them, nearly 70%. Wow. And a lot of these are what you call distressed properties, either a house that's not in great shape or a vacant lot. And there's just not enough investors who want to buy all those, said Jack Turner, who was litigated tax delinquent cases for Shelby County Trustee's office until this past spring. Stated a lot of investors feel that there are better investment opportunities outside of a tax sale. And I tend to agree. It's like a lot of times you have to have that budget. You got to have access to capital to really make a tax sale work, especially when you're dealing with land. That's just a whole nother bucket. I'm trying to get rid of these 2 lots that I own in, Reading, Pennsylvania. So if you want to own a lot in Reading, Pennsylvania, contact me via YouTube, Facebook, or contact me via my website. But yeah, so it can be a burden, and a lot of times people just like to know, because then the thing is you don't even know what you're going to get a lot of times, even if you can do a drive-by before the auction, after the auction, but you cannot go inside the property and it's legally go inside the property itself until you actually have the deed to the property, So that's what it is. Especially if somebody's living in the property and they could sue you and then they could hold you up in court. So a lot of times when it comes to certain tax sales, a lot of times it's just not worth it. You got to just look into the reality of it. It's not really worth it. So it's not worth your time. So you're like, hey, I might as well go try to buy something that I know is for sale and I'm not have to go through any litigation. Because one of my sales, like I said, the people they're suing the county. And at this point, I'm just like, I'm looking at the county like I'm gonna contact them this month. Like, give me my money back. I'm done. Let her have the property. I just want my money back at this point because it's just sitting there, and Lord knows how long this is going to take, because when you're dealing with the court system, it takes a long time. But anyways, I digress. Article says, for example, trustees' report suggests that nearly $7 million in bids for August 2020 tax sale. A separate report shows Shelby County recovered less than $800,000 in back taxes. For that sale, 40 properties were purchased by individuals, with Shelby County forced to take over remaining 200 or so properties that were left. Rather than paying money for the tax foreclosure properties, it comes to own Shelby County instead wipes the tax sale wipe the tax slate clean and moves the properties to the Shelby County Land Bank, which is ironic. Before the pandemic, I had a plane ticket to go to Memphis until the lockdown happened because I wanted to check out the land bank, where potential owners from around the world can buy Memphis real estate online. So I wanted to participate in that. I even remember calling down. It was like beginning of 2020. This is before the pandemic, and then I might still go back. I've never been to Memphis, Tennessee, so I haven't given up on checking that area out. But I know that Nashville, Tennessee, has been on the rise, and eventually, because of where Memphis is located, that's going to be a city that becomes gentrified. So it's all a matter of time. All the major cities in America. So being able to buy something and turn it into a fix and flip or turn it into a rental property is a beautiful thing. The land bank tries to sell them as best they can. The gentleman Turner says, I can tell you my experience being there, the goal is to get taxes paid so county services can be provided. According to the data released by the land bank, the county has generated between $2.2 million and $5.5 million in revenue in each of the last 5 years through third-party sales of properties the county has taken in tax sales. It was unclear, however, how much the previous owners had owned in unpaid taxes on those properties. The trustee's office can't profit from a tax sale, but it can't earn money for the county on any excess funds it accumulates when the land bank in turn sells tax foreclosure properties to third parties. And Action News 5 found several properties in the land bank that sold for a lot less than the taxes owed. And that's what's going to happen a lot of times because you're dealing with a depressed city in a depressed area. So a lot of times, unfortunately, at that point, it's like the government is like, look, we need to get our money. Sometimes people will take a loss on selling a property just so they can get rid of it because, like, look, I just want to get rid of it. I don't want to worry about it anymore and move on with my life. So it is what it is. Sometimes you got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them. All right. Article ended on this note saying that, for example, a lot of Davis Street that carried more than $19,000 in back taxes failed to sell in August 2020 auction. It was purchased 10 months later by a Florida-based limited liability company from the land bank for just $500. Wow. Turner points out one silver lining: Shelby County doesn't evict while investors can. Robinson feels lucky to have redeemed his childhood home before the eviction went through, but between the interest and fees, he had to pay more than just the taxes he owed. He said, I feel cheated, I really do. And it's unfortunate, but that's just how the game goes, It's like, I don't wish that on anybody, especially when you're trying to preserve a family home or whatnot. But this is why we say you got to make money moves or live broke like a fool because, if it's not inflation, if it's not taxes, then it's going to be something else that's going to get you financially, right? So on that note, do the great thing for things, like, share, subscribe, have a great day. Let me know what you think about tax sales, tax liens, and all that great stuff. Let me know if you participate in Shelby County tax sales, tax liens, or the land bank and things of that nature, all right? So on that note, we always say, make money moves, or you're going to live broke like a fool. If you're a stock market investor, crypto investor, individual retirement account investor, do not forget to check out WEBULL/acornscrypto.com, Coinbase, and with all those links are in the description, you'll be able to make some money moves when you sign up. All right, take care.